All right, guys, we are back. We are back. Thank you again for tuning in. Welcome to another episode. I'm going to get right into this. We are here to talk about another radical Black liberal. Yes, I know we have touched on this subject plenty of times, but to me, I'm so fascinated. I am so fascinated on why Black people on the left want or feel like they need reparations. It's mind blowing to me. I try to dive into this and figure out, one, you've never been a slave, you've never experienced it. How can you then say, well, my family members who experienced it over 100 years ago, they're dealing with it, so now I'm dealing with it, so I deserve some type of money? I just can't get into the justification of it. And there was a debate with Jubilee, and they do these debates, where it's just like one liberal versus 25 conservative, or one conservative versus 25 liberals, or vice versa. They do this thing. So I was looking at this debate yesterday. I was very fascinated with it. And it was one radical versus 25 Black conservatives. And, the 25 Black conservatives, they made sense. Why would anybody want reparations? We don't need reparations. To me, it's a cop-out. White America should not pay for anything. We have the opportunity, the same as every other race in this country. I mean, to be honest with you, Black people probably have it better than anybody, because at this moment in time, you can ruin a white person's life by just claiming they're racist. It's crazy. So the fact of the matter is, for the last 10 years, a lot of Black Democrats have just told people, just shut up. As soon as you talk about the Black community, as soon as you talk about violence, or you talk about anything they don't like, they can accuse you of being racist, and guess what? You lose your job. So I think right now, Americans are just sick of it. We're done being called, especially for me. If you're a Black liberal and I'm a Black conservative, and I get called Uncle Tom or Coon, or a tap dancer for the white man, or doing whatever type of nonsense, it's just names for them to get you off the topic, get you off the conversation. So the point of the matter is, before I give into this live debate, no white person owes anybody. Okay, white people do not owe Black people, because Black people were not slaves. There's no Black person alive today that was a slave. There's no white person alive today in America that was a slave owner. Not to mention, there were 3,775 Black people that owned 12,000 slaves. So what about them? Why is slavery only contributed to white people? Black people own slaves too in America. So I want to get to this point, but they never touch on that. They never touch on how Black people were slaves. 3,775 Black people were slaves in this country, were slave owners in this country. They own 12,000 people, but they never talk about that. The Democrats don't want you to know about that. CNN, MSNBC, they don't talk about that. They just want you to think that white people own slaves and they're bad. So again, I really want to get in this debate. Let's get into it right now, just to hear what this guy has to say.
$50,000 check, it's not going to fix anything. It's not going to increase the median household income in the next 10 years by 10% or 20%. For example, we have the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that Black people kill each other, according to the FBI?
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
See, this is what I hate about Black people. As soon as he makes up a good point, you can tell this guy's younger, this girl's older. She's gonna go into, oh, your education, oh, you poor young person, you don't know. This young guy literally schools her, and yet the first thing they do, this is another example, it's proving my point. When he says something so smart, he goes into the, oh, young man, you don't know what you're talking about.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start there, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So if you're going to start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie all the time. Yeah. One, comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of Black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all.
Oh my gosh. This is what mind blows. If I were a white person, you know what I would say? If I were a white man, I would literally say, what more would it take to make you guys shut up? What more would it take for you guys to just stop talking, stop complaining? Do you not understand? Okay, Barack Obama, was a Kenyan, born here, but was running against John McCain and Mitt Romney. Okay, Barack Obama. There's right now there's 12.7% of the population is black. That comes out to like 30 million Americans. 60% of the population of America is white. That's like 200 million Americans. Okay, if you had every single black person in this country vote for Barack Obama, and all the white people not vote for him, he would not have won the presidency. Millions and millions of white people voted for Barack Obama. Not only that, millions of white people voted for Barack Obama over the POW, the war hero, John McCain, over Mitt Romney. Two white men Barack Obama ran against, and white people elected him in a landslide. And yet you still have black Democrats complaining about racism. It drives me crazy.
No one here is
Are you acting right now? Do you really believe
I'm telling
this?
the truth. There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America. What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories using black-only dormitories because black people feel safer amongst each other, but they're more likely to kill each other.
Imagine that. My gosh, black people are separating themselves for being safe. Imagine the riots, the chaos that would happen if white people went up to University of Georgia and said, hey, you know what? We want our own space. We want our own dormitories now. So we want to feel safe away from the black people. Could you imagine how that would go? Do you think CNN or MSNBC will report that fairly and say, oh, you know, that's a good idea. If you want to feel safe, hey, that's fine. So how can black people get away with that? How can black people get away with having their own dormitories and the university saying, yes, that's okay for you to have your own space, but when white people do it, somehow it's racist? To me, it's not making any sense. And this is the thing that is so hypocritical. Why white people do something and it's racist, but black people do literally the same exact thing and it's okay because, you know, they grew up in a bad environment. They want to feel safe from the white people because the white people are so dangerous, even though the black people commit 10 times the amount of crime that white people do in this country and are only 12% of the population. But don't worry about that. We want to make sure the black people feel safe. When are we going to stop coddling? Black Americans can do whatever they want in this country, just like white people. Why are we still having these conversations about reparations?
Than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping about killing other black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my God, this is scary. You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now. Okay.
Another insult.
So on a basic level, we have to understand that systemic racism is grounded in the realities that black people have not been considered an equal human being in this country since its onset. So there's simply no way to make the argument that there isn't systemic racism. And we have seen in very clear ways the system operate in an organically racist way. Do not cut me off. When we talk about systemic racism, we can start with even the fact that redlining, which was implemented to discriminate black communities. Are you shaking your head that redlining doesn't exist?
No, I'm saying I don't think it really existed at all. I mean, no, I don't think so at all.
So it does exist, and stating that it doesn't exist doesn't make it no longer exist. Redlining.
You get the gist of it. It is literally a point of no matter how many statistics, how many facts you bring up to these black radical liberals, they will never be happy. They're on their hands and knees begging the white people to give them reparations. Mind you, there is only a small percentage, maybe like 5% of white people that own slaves back in the day. You had to be rich. You had to be of some type of power to have slaves. Everybody just didn't have slaves. It wasn't like you were just picking fruit. You know what I mean? Like you had to have some type of money. And not to mention, again, my point of the 3,775 black people that did own slaves, they own 12,000 slaves. So what about them? Do they own reparations? Do they owe people too? It just drives me crazy. The fact that she's 44 years old and still complaining about slavery and reparations and all this other junk. And this young kid, I don't know how old he is, but he literally bring up to the point where even if you already got 50,000, okay, hypothetically. So if the government were to say, hey, you know what, black people, we're going to give you $100 for reparation. Do you think any black person would be like, yes, thank you? They would all complain. Even if you were to give them 1,000, there's no amount of money that they would be happy with. And this is the thing, that even though it's $100 and you're giving them free money, just to be like, hey, here you go. Here's your $100. Shut up. Stop talking about it. No, they're never going to stop talking about it. And this is where white guilt comes in. White guilt comes in all the time. And it's unfortunate. And there should be not any white guilt. White guilt should not exist, because you should not be made to feel sorry for a black person coming into your face saying that you're a racist or saying any type of thing. It's not your fault. You guys weren't slave owners. There's no white person alive today right now that is a slave owner. And again, there's no black person alive today in America that was a slave. So this reparation argument is, to me, is garbage. I'm glad that young kid and all the other conservatives pointed it out. But I mean, we shouldn't even be talking about this. I mean, the fact that they're talking about, black people having their own dormitories to make sure it's safe from other races is just mind-blowing, because damn well it would never work if white people wanted to do the same thing. So I'm glad that that young kid pointed it out. So again, guys, no white person owes any money. They should never be asked for that. I think it's just a carrot dangling in their face for them to get vote Democrat, because the Democrats are the only one that's dangling that stuff in their face. Democrats should literally say, hey, look, black people, to put it nicely, stop complaining. You're not going to get reparations. It happened over 150 years ago. Quit complaining, get a job. The biggest threat to black people right now in America is black people. 91% of all black gun deaths are committed by black people. And yet you're worried about reparations. I mean, you need to fix the home. That's the biggest threat to black people right now. We need to fix the home environment. We need to figure out why fathers are not in the child's life. We need to figure out why they love rap music instead of, Ben Carson or, Thomas Sowell or Clarence Thomas. Black people, Supreme Court justice like that. Why are they not looking at Clarence Thomas being like, oh my gosh, he's a Supreme Court justice. He has this job for life. I want to get like that. How do I do that? Instead, they look up to Cardi B and Drake, and this is insane. So we need to talk about the crime in the communities. We need to talk about the single motherhood. We need to talk about why black fathers are not in their child's life. And that should be priority, instead of trying to give them reparations, because as soon as you cave, they're going to want more and more. So the black Democrats are not, especially the ones in Congress, they're not doing the jobs, because they just have to put this conversation and stop it and just say, look, we will never give you reparations. It's time for you to move on, get something of yourself, get a job, and try to build generational wealth. It's like all the other migrants that come over here and they get citizenship, and then they start building gas stations or convenience stores or whatever, and they start building generational wealth for their kids and their grandkids. That's what they need to happen. And that's what the black community can do too, if they just get over the damn slavery. No one deserves reparations. That's my 2 cents. All right, guys. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here.